Hi, I'm Ernst Brandl. I'm an attorney at law and beekeeper. I keep 70 hives of bees in the region of Waldviertel, which is in the north of Austria. I have been using the Varroa controller for the last 8 years. I started beekeeping 12 years ago and used formic acid before that to keep the Varroa under control. And I really didn't like that because I thought it was doing harm to the bees. And so the Varroa controller just came in very handy in order to take care of the bees in a very gentle way. I have never had any losses, any winter losses since I've started to use Varroa controller. And I'm very, very happy with that. It's a very gentle way to deal with Varroa, and everyone I show the Varroa controller to and explain the functions is very impressed. So I can only recommend the Varroa controller. The region of Waldviertel is a very fragmented area when it comes to agriculture. So we don't have any monocultures, which helps beekeeping. But it's also very fragmented from a beekeeping point of view. We have very many old beekeepers who grew up where the Varroa mite didn't exist, and so they always have problems, and they do have problems getting their hives over the winter. But I simply do not share their experience because I bring all my hives through the winter. However, you of course understand that the treatment of the other beekeepers of course affects your beekeeping. So sometimes it's necessary to do a third treatment with the Varroa controller in the fall. And but still, if you do it, then it's fine. And as I said, I bring all my hives through the winter, all my colonies. I'm very sloppy with diagnosing. I have the experience that with 3 treatments a year, then it is possible just to do it mechanically. Because of my civil profession of being a lawyer, I do not have very much time, and I'm not very interested in counting mites. So I just do the spring treatment whenever the weather allows. Then I do the June treatment with the duplex boxes, and I almost always do a fall treatment at the end of September or the beginning of October on warm days. And I have the advantage that I keep bees in buildings, in bee houses. And that gives me the little bit more flexibility when it comes to do the treatment, because the temperature has to be warm to do treatment, and in the fall or in the spring it's usually not very warm in the mornings when you start doing the treatment. The biggest advantage is that you don't have any losses. The second advantage, it's bee friendly, and I think it's important not to harm your bees and the bee brood with contact poisons, and formic acid and oxalic acid are contact poisons. And that's a very important argument for the Varroa controller. The third advantage is that you can use the brood, and you do not destroy the brood, and you just put the frame back into the hive, and you do not have any losses, which also affects your honey yield. And so if the colony doesn't have to invest honey or energy into raising new brood after you've destroyed it with formic or oxalic acid, then of course you save energy and you save honey. So these are the three main advantages. I really think that it's more time consuming than applying formic acid. But you know, I think that this disadvantage is much outweighed by the three advantages I just told you. I cannot imagine to be a beekeeper with 1,000 colonies or 1,000 hives. I don't think that you have to be very efficient or you have to prepare yourself very well in order to do it with one or two Varroa controllers. But it's definitely more time consuming. That has to be said.